Right now, somewhere in the Pacific, 5,000 American sailors are producing enough trash to fill 6 dumpsters every single day. That's nearly 3,000 pounds of waste floating on a steel city the size of 4 football fields. But here's the crazy part. Not a single piece of that garbage can be tossed overboard. Every banana peel, plastic wrapper, and even the sewage from 410,000 gallons of wastewater must be sorted, processed, and handled with military precision. The waste management system on an aircraft carrier is more complex than most cities, and what happens below deck will blow your mind. When we picture America's mighty carriers, we think of roaring jets and fearless sailors defending freedom. But behind that power is a massive logistical challenge you've probably never heard of. These floating cities don't just launch planes, they battle mountains of waste that would keep any city mayor awake at night. The USS George H.W. carries nearly 5,000 men and women, each generating waste just like us, except they're stranded in the middle of the ocean. And what they've built to handle it all is pure engineering brilliance. If you're proud of American innovation, type "proud" in the comments below. Let's talk numbers that'll make your head spin. Every 24 hours, these sailors create enough solid waste to fill a small apartment, about 500 pounds of food scraps and paper, packed into 8 bundles a day. That's 4,000 pounds of organic waste daily, and that's just the beginning. Metal waste. Compressed into 300-pound barrels, 10 of them every day. That's another 3,000 pounds of metal from cans, tools, and materials. Now, here's where it gets wild. They also produce 410,000 gallons of wastewater daily, enough to fill 8 swimming pools. And remember, they can't just hook up to a city sewer in the middle of the ocean. So why not dump it all overboard? Because the U.S. Navy takes environmental laws seriously. Managing waste on a carrier requires more precision than launching a jet. Every item must be identified, sorted, and processed under strict military and international rules. One mistake can lead to serious trouble. Deep below deck, 16 specially trained sailors run the waste management department, working nonstop in hot, cramped spaces that smell exactly how you'd imagine. One sailor put it best: "We're like raccoons. We dig through everyone's trash to make sure it's sorted right." Everything is separated: food waste, paper, metal, glass, plastic, even hazardous materials. Each type gets processed differently, and what happens next will absolutely surprise you. Food waste and paper get the most fascinating treatment. Once the ship is 3 nautical miles from shore, these materials go through a pulping machine that shreds them into tiny 12mm pieces, mixes them into a slurry, and pumps them overboard, like a giant garbage disposal with military precision. At 12 nautical miles, things like wood, old uniforms, rags, and magazines are burned in powerful incinerators that reach scorching temperatures, turning them into fine ash safe for sea disposal. But then come the strict rules. Metal and glass can only be released 25 nautical miles from any coastline, and even then, they're shredded and packed into biodegradable burlap bags before going overboard. The real challenge, though, is plastic. International law completely bans dumping plastic into the ocean, except in life-or-death emergencies. So what happens to it all? Every piece of plastic is processed through a high-tech machine called a compress melt unit, or CMU. It rinses, shreds, heats, and compresses plastic into solid discs about 20 inches wide and 4 inches thick. These plastic pucks are stored on board until the ship reaches port or transfers them elsewhere. The engineering is brilliant. The CMU handles hundreds of pounds daily, turning bulky plastic into compact, stackable discs that save tons of space and keep our oceans clean. But what comes next will blow your mind: sewage processing. Handling human waste from 5,000 sailors is a nightmare for most engineers, yet the Navy solution makes most city treatment plants look outdated. The system is called CHT, collect, hold, transfer. But calling it just a sewage system doesn't do it justice. It's a full-scale water treatment plant inside a warship. When a sailor flushes, the waste enters a system of bioreactors, sediment tanks, filters, and sterilizers. Only when the water is completely clean and meets strict environmental standards is it pumped back into the ocean, and only if the ship is at least 4 nautical miles from shore. Every drop is tested, often exceeding city-level regulations. Still, even high-tech systems fail. The USS Gerald R. Ford, America's newest carrier, had serious sewage issues. Its pipes were too narrow to handle waste from over 4,000 crew members. When clogs happen, engineers must flush the system with acid. A single flush costs $400,000. Older ships face other nightmares. The USS George H.W. Bush uses a vacuum system with over 250 miles of piping. If vacuum pressure drops, every toilet on board stops working. In 2011, that happened multiple times. 5,000 sailors had to use sinks and shower drains as emergency toilets while crews worked 35-hour shifts to fix it. The Navy learned from this and added backup systems. The latest technology, PAWDS, or Plasma Arc Waste Destruction System, takes things even further. Using plasma technology, it vaporizes waste at extreme temperatures, leaving behind zero harmful emissions. Only 4 exist in the world, all headed for U.S. aircraft carriers. PAWDS is compact, electric, and capable of destroying nearly any combustible waste safely. It's the future of naval waste management, clean, efficient, and environmentally responsible. The logistics of handling waste at sea are mind-blowing. Aircraft carriers can operate for months without touching land. During Operation Enduring Freedom, the USS Theodore Roosevelt spent 159 straight days at sea. Every piece of trash during that time had to be processed, stored, or disposed of on board. On long deployments, waste management becomes a mission-critical operation. Running out of storage for processed waste could force a carrier to return early, disrupting operations. That's why the 16-member waste management crew is just as vital as the pilots flying combat missions. Once a week, massive supply ships pull alongside the carrier for a high-risk process called underway replenishment. During these transfers, barrels of compressed waste, plastic pucks, and hazardous materials are moved to the supply vessel, which later delivers them to shore for disposal. Timing is everything. Too much buildup can overwhelm storage, but too many transfers could expose the carrier's position to enemies. Weather makes it even tougher. Moving 300-pound barrels between ships in rough seas takes incredible precision and courage. One slip could mean serious injury or lost equipment. But for the Navy, this isn't just about rules. It's about protecting the oceans. The crews see themselves as guardians of the sea, ensuring U.S. military power never harms marine life. With over 8 million tons of plastic entering the oceans every year from civilians, the Navy's zero plastic dumping policy sets a global example that strength and sustainability can coexist. Training for waste management specialists is intense. Sailors study international law, environmental standards, system operations, safety, and emergency response. They're not garbage handlers. They're operators of complex industrial systems whose mistakes could impact international relations. Safety comes first. Working with incinerators, chemical processors, and compression units in tight, hot spaces is dangerous. These sailors risk their safety daily to keep 5,000 crewmates living cleanly and comfortably. The cost is high. The PAWDS system alone costs millions per ship. Add in maintenance, equipment, and training, and waste management becomes a major part of a carrier's operating budget. But compared to environmental fines or global backlash from illegal dumping, it's money well spent. Innovation never stops. The Navy is developing smarter, greener systems to boost efficiency and cut waste. Future carriers may include enhanced pull piers that handle bones and fruit pits, reducing storage needs even further. Step by step, America's sailors are proving that even in war, you can still protect the planet. The human side of waste management often goes unnoticed, but it's the heart of the operation. 16 sailors work in some of the toughest conditions on the ship. The job is physically demanding, the environment harsh, and the responsibility huge. Yet they take pride in their mission, knowing their work keeps everyone healthy and protects the ocean. There's real growth in this field too. Skilled sailors can advance to supervisors, trainers, or technical experts. Many move into environmental compliance or civilian waste management after their service, using the expertise they gained at sea. Mentally, it's no easy task. Working in cramped, foul-smelling spaces handling other people's trash takes serious grit. That's why the Navy provides mental health support and rotating shifts to keep morale and well-being high. Now, the bigger picture. This entire operation is a reflection of American values in action. Our military could take shortcuts, ignore rules, or pass problems on to others. Instead, it chooses the harder path: complete environmental responsibility. Every day, on carriers across the globe, these waste management heroes prove that power and principle go hand in hand. They show that protecting the planet and defending the nation are one and the same mission. So next time you see jets roaring off a carrier deck, remember the sailors below, working in hot, cramped spaces, sorting through tons of waste to keep the operation running. They're the unsung heroes making everything else possible. Their work ensures that America's military leaves nothing behind but the defense of freedom and democracy. In an era where environmental responsibility matters more than ever, our Navy leads by example, proving that military excellence and environmental stewardship can coexist. These dedicated sailors deserve our respect for handling one of the toughest, most important jobs in the military, with professionalism, pride, and heart.